I arrived in Elmswood on a late autumn afternoon, the kind of day when the sun seems too shy to show itself and the trees stretch out like skeletons against the gray sky. I'd heard whispers about the town, how it was isolated, quiet, and had a reputation for keeping to itself. But that was exactly why I came. I was looking for inspiration, you know? A place to clear my head, to write. Elmswood seemed like the perfect retreat. The moment I stepped off the bus, something felt off. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it was the silence, or the way the residents stared at me as I walked past. They were friendly, of course, but too polite. Too rehearsed. They smiled in that way that made you feel like they were waiting for you to say something first, like they were testing you. I checked into a small inn near the town square. The innkeeper, Mrs. Lowell, was kind but distant, like she was hiding something behind those soft, gray eyes. She showed me to my room, then left without another word. No small talk, no niceties, just a strange, almost clinical politeness. That night, I couldn't sleep. It was the silence. The kind of silence that presses in on you, like it's watching. I tossed and turned, hearing creaks in the walls, faint whispers. Maybe the wind, maybe something else. The next morning, I decided to take a walk. I figured it would help shake off the unease. As I walked through the town, I noticed the same people. Everyone was out, but no one spoke. The town square was empty except for a few people standing perfectly still, staring at the ground. No one seemed to blink, no one moved. Just watching. I wanted to leave. But something kept me there. It wasn't fear, not at first, but curiosity. Days passed, and I began to notice the inconsistencies. Small things. The way people would repeat the same words when they spoke, like they were all reading from a script. The faces, some of them seemed too familiar. I saw Mrs. Lowell again, but this time, she was sitting in a cafe, talking to someone who looked exactly like her, same gray hair, same eyes. When I asked her who the woman was, she just smiled and said, "My sister." But the thing is, there was no sister. Not in the town, not in the records. No one had ever mentioned her. By the third night, I started hearing things, voices, but they weren't coming from the walls anymore. They were coming from the streets outside, drifting in through my window. Whispers. Soft, like a breeze, but they said my name. And the dreams, they were becoming harder to distinguish from reality. At first, it was just the faces, always the same people, standing around me, staring at me. And then they started speaking. Not in words, not in sounds, but in images. Images that felt too real. My own reflection, but wrong. Eyes that weren't mine. Smiles that weren't mine. I started to question myself. Was it the isolation? Was I going mad? Every day, I felt like I was losing more of myself. I couldn't remember what had happened before I arrived in Elmswood. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't recall a single moment of my life before the town. My memories felt warped. Like they belonged to someone else. I tried to leave. I packed my bags, went to the bus stop. But the bus never came. It was like the town itself was holding me captive, trapping me here, pulling me back. And then, the worst part happened. I saw me, not in a reflection, no, not that. But walking down the street. The same face, the same clothes, but it was smiling. Smiling at me like it knew something I didn't. Like it had become the version of me that Elmswood wanted me to be. And it said, "Welcome home." I ran. But the streets twisted around me. No matter where I went, I found myself standing in front of the same inn. The same room. The same window. It was like the town knew me. Knew every step I'd take, every thought I'd have. It was waiting. I've been here for days now, maybe weeks, I can't tell anymore. Time doesn't seem to move in Elmswood. Or maybe it's me that doesn't move. I've stopped trying to leave. Stopped trying to understand. Because now I hear it. The voices, louder than ever, calling my name. They don't sound like the town anymore. They sound like me. And I finally understand. I'm not supposed to be here. But I never left.